me going if I'm be able to make some money. Able to make some money while he's out there and still have fun.
Do you think you could do it on your own?
No, I don't think so. And I want to show you something real quick. I'm able to use the podcast as some kind of leverage to get to the next level.
What's up?
Life of a hustler, gotta do it for mother, gotta do it for father, even though he act like a sucker. Life of a hustler, gotta do it for granny, gotta do it for brothers, even if they think I don't love them. Been getting active and hustling.
We back. Another episode of More Action Podcast. I got a fellow interviewer here, Cody Brown, and I want him to go ahead and let y'all know who he is about his podcast before we start the interview. So go ahead, let him know.
Yes, sir. My name is Cody Brown. I have a podcast called Motion and Success. We've been running it for about 2 years. We got started in a conference kind of similar to this one, where I just went up. I realized that people like talking, and also they like talking about themselves. So I went ahead. I'm like, all right, cool. What's the easiest way to network with somebody? Turn on the camera, give them some content that they can use, and then from there, that's how I started building relationships with other people.
That's what's up, bro. Did you ever think, in your hometown to interview people that, went to your school, maybe had a business in town, or did you go straight for the big guests? What did you do in the beginning?
So for me, I started with the people that I already knew. So I started out with all the high-level entrepreneurs and all the high-level people that I already met within the past few years. I wrote out a list of everybody. I put their name down. I put their Instagram down. I put the amount of followers that they had down on their Instagram. A lot of those entrepreneurs more than likely probably had over 50,000 plus subs.
Damn.
I mean, not subs, followers on Instagram or something like that.
Right.
And then from there, we started reaching out to everybody. People said yes. Some people said no. And then we just kept rocking out. But here's the thing about it too. They showed us love because we started off at our Instagram with 0 followers.
For sure. Wow.
0 followers, just like everybody else.
2 years ago, too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man. So when you did start doing the interviews, how was it talking to people that you've been looking up to? Because you said just now, these are people with 50,000 plus followers. So I'm assuming you had been watching them for a little while, or how did that go?
Kind of been watching them in a way. Some people I was always like, I'm seeing them, I'm showing love on their posts, showing love. If they got an event, I show up, support. I tell other people like, this person is having an event, you should come through. And I'll also go through myself. So I was supporting them on little things that they had going on in the city, whether they may be, posting their content, showing up in different areas. I was just always supporting them.
Right,
So that's what I was doing beforehand, still doing it now. But, I can't really go everywhere.
I feel you, man.
Bro.
Podcasting for 2 years is something serious, though.
Yes.
What was you doing before that?
So as far as what I was doing before it, I started off with, I still operate businesses right now where we're helping entrepreneurs get funding for their business. So a lot of times business owners need money, for them to save up the amount of money that they need for a business. It's almost impossible, or it may be taking too long. Sometimes if you need an extra $10,000, it might take you a few years for somebody to save that up. So what I do is I help them to go out and get the funds that they need for their business.
Got you. Is there any specific mentors that come to mind, not just in the credit space, but interviewing, podcasting? Who do you look up to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So a mentor that I got right now that I'm very close with, and he's very genuine, very, open, and share his resources and knowledge with me. His name is Dion Cooper.
Yeah, I know him.
Not
know him, but I know of him.
Yeah, so pretty much that's my mentor, bro.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what's up, bro. So how did that come about? You met him at an event, or did you join a course of his and then end up meeting him like that?
Funny thing about it, bro, I was in the space where I was learning to fix my credit. So the person that I was learning from, he had a mentorship program, and what he did was he invited his friends and his resources, and then they came inside of his community and gave game. And when Dion came through, I'm like, this guy is talking about this, and that. I can save myself this time. He was giving us game on how you can hire your first employee, within your business. I'm like, I could do that. So I went ahead and I invested with him. And then from there, we made our first $100,000 doing credit repair. I'm like, shit, I need to learn exactly how I can do what he's doing on a different level. And then I tapped in with him on his higher level programs.
Nice. That is crazy, bro, because I've seen Dion taking classes with other people like Carter Cofield, for example. We would bring him on as a guest. And
Yes.
so the fact that you got mentored by him and that you met him in person is amazing, man.
Yes, bro.
So hanging out with people like that, do you really think that it's infectious as everyone says it is? You know how they say you hang around 4 broke people, you'll be the 5th.
Yeah.
Do you think being around the certain type of people you've been around is really elevating you? Or do you think you could do it on your own?
No, I don't think so. And I want to show you something real quick.
Go ahead,
This
show
was
me.
just the other day, actually.
Taking me through the gallery right now.
Yeah, this was last week where we had went to a mastermind, and pretty much this is outside of the mastermind. So if you pull up in a spot, I don't see this in New York, bro. You know, so
we looking at a Lamborghini, we looking at a mansion.
Pull up in a mansion, probably $5+ million house, McLaren's outside, multiple Lamborghinis parked outside, Urus's, Bentleys, all kinds of whips out there. You'll definitely get motivated. You're not gonna go home feeling the same. You know what I mean? And this was just last weekend. You know, so changing up your environment definitely is important. You know, and it reignite a flame in me, because I'm like, shit, I haven't really been around in these kind of circles for a little while. So it started getting me in that mode, like, all right, cool, you got to start stepping your game up. I met some people where the young lady, she was like, I made $10,000 on one TikTok live. I'm like, shit, you made a $10,000 on the TikTok live? And her friend, she's like, yeah, we make $500 to $1,000 every single time they go on TikTok live, and they're doing business together. You know, so being in different environments, bro, really just exposes you into other opportunities that you probably didn't even think was possible.
That's so true. And see, the common question I've been asking throughout the day is, how do you fight the naysayers and the people that are not on your level as far as mindset? Because I know you can't be in the circle you want to be in at all times.
Yes.
So when you run into people who are like, you're not really doing that, you know, it's just fluff online. How do you go about that? Do you really like exit the conversation, or you try to influence and motivate people to think different?
Well, some people, their MO is to really discourage you, bro. You know, they quit in life, they don't win in life, they're not having what they want, and they believe that you should not do the same thing too. You know, so you definitely have to exit that conversation as soon as you can, because now you're gonna start thinking, you know what, this person is actually right. Maybe I should actually, you know, not take it. I shouldn't spend money on that mentorship program. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't travel to the podcast summit and you know, meet new people. I'm a regular, you know, engineer or whatever the case may be. Everybody here is business owners. And then you start being like, all right, cool, you're right. And then you don't show up and you don't get in the rooms that you know you need to be in. 5, 10+ years, you start regretting life, and you start realizing like, yo, that person that I started out with, they started out in the same time as me. They went in the same program as me. And I remember them when they were just broke trying to figure things out. Fast forward later, they're driving, you know, your dream car. They're driving the cars that you actually want. They're living in the house that you want. They have the money that you want. They have the lifestyle that you want. You know what I mean? So,
I do, because if you really think about it, that's you to some of the people that didn't believe. Do you have any of those friends that you had to kind of like, you know, let them watch what was going on? Because you told them the plan, you told them what you was doing, but they kind of brushed it off, and now they're looking at you like, man, I regret not following his path. Do you have any of those friends?
Well, I mean, I got a lot of supporters, bro. Like people that I rock with, very close with, you know, people support me, you know, but it's just from a distance, you know. Yo, Cody, I want to come around. Let's kick it. Let's have fun. Let's go out for a drink. Let's go out for dinner. I really don't just, I don't even respond, bro. It's not to be disrespectful, but it's just like, I'm not really interested in that. You know, like certain things I used to be interested in before, I'm no longer interested in before anymore.
Right. How old are you right now?
25, bro.
25?
Yeah.
You've been doing this for 2 years, so it's a really good time to start, because I was listening to this podcast a long time ago, and Ty Lopez said,
okay.
When you turn 26, you're pretty much done as far as learning, right? You ever heard that expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Yeah.
He said once you turn 26, you're pretty much that old dog. A lot of people don't have the mindset to unlearn after 26. So the fact that you're 25 and you actually started 2 years ago, I can only imagine where you'll be at 27, 30. You know what I mean? But what about you?
Sometimes you just got to get real frustrated, bro. You might get so frustrated with life. It doesn't matter if you're 26 or 30 or even 50. You know, some people get really frustrated with life, and they're, you know they got to make a change, you know. I actually had a client, had a call with her probably about a few days ago. She's retired. She's an old lady, and she's still over here trying to get funding to change her situation to be able to make some more money. So not necessarily the age. It's really about the frustration level. Sometimes it gets to a point. It just gets to a point.
That is something else he said. He said the only way that people after 26 learn is through trauma.
Yes.
So to be frustrated enough to make a change is a big point.
Yes, bro.
So if you compare the mindset of someone who is still trying to get out the rut versus the environment they're in, which one do you think is more important? Like, is it more important to work on your mindset first or to get out of that environment?
Well, sometimes you can't even control your environment. Some people don't have the money to change their situation. Some people don't have the money to move out their environment. But you could change your environment by changing the people that you hang out with on a daily basis. Working on your mindset, excluding yourself from certain situations that you usually will, include yourself into.
Right. You did say a minute ago that there's certain messages you don't even respond to.
Yeah.
What is it that you do on your free time? Because you can't be working all the time. You look like you work a lot. But what's the free time look like?
Honestly, bro, like I really, I enjoy what I do. So like podcasting, interviewing people, those are things that I really, really just enjoy. Like even if it's a free podcast or if it's somebody that just want to chop it up, I generally just enjoy doing those kind of things. As far as like fun, I'm really still learning myself, honestly, truly, bro. I'm still learning, what I like to do, what I want to do in my free time, but I do enjoy, fitness.
Okay.
I did fall off for a little bit when I gained about 10, 15 pounds.
Hey, it's all right.
We still, fitness is definitely something I like to do in my free time.
I got you, man. And personally, I look up to a lot of people in this room. We hear podcasts, Summit 2025. Right. So I know you got contacts in your phone. If you had a problem or an issue other than Dion, who's someone you call for advice? Who's someone you call to vent to that can relate to what you're going through? Because you're at a high level compared to most people.
Who would I call? Honestly, and I was having a conversation with somebody here a little earlier. She was like, for men, it's very hard to vent. And I completely understand it. Sometimes you don't want anybody to, sabotage you after you being vulnerable with them. After you share some of your weaknesses, some of the points that you'd rather not talk about. So for me, I don't really I have transparent moments with people, but I have those conversations with people that I know generally wants me to win. You get what I mean? So I have those conversations with those kind of people because at the end of the day, I know they want me to win. So sometimes what they might tell me, I might not really be too interested in. I'm not necessarily might be too interested. It's just I might not want to hear what they have to say, but the truth is the truth. 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. 4 + 4 is always going to be 8.
That's true. That's true. Now, doing your podcast, you obviously have a co-host. If you wanted to talk a little bit about him and how it is working with him, because not everybody has a partner in crime when it comes to podcasting.
Yeah.
Donnie Wiggins and David Shands is like one of the best duos I've seen. But other than that, I've always seen people doing podcasts by themselves, other than Wallow and, Gilly. So how does it feel being a duo podcast,
Well, I tell him all the time, bro, and I tell other people as well. With us, bro, like our podcast would have been done before it even got started, because I can't do all of this stuff by myself, bro. It takes money to run a podcast. It's not expensive, but you'd rather spend your money on other things. You know what I mean? So it's little things like that. So having a partner, having somebody on the same agenda as you, bro, it makes life much easier. Me and him are completely different, so like I'm more like an extroverted kind of dude. He's more the introverted kind of dude. It works perfectly.
But y'all hold each other accountable.
Exactly. It works perfectly. If we're both the same and we both offer the same exact thing, we have the same kind of, characteristic traits, personality, it's almost always going to be a clash. We're always going to be fighting. Me and him is very, very open. We just understand, all right, cool. If we want to be able to do certain things in our life, bro, we just put our ego aside.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's really hard for a lot of people to
It
do.
is.
That's why I mentioned, your age and your thinking, because it's better to learn it now than try to learn it later through some form of trauma and make it harder on yourself.
Yes.
You got to learn these things early. And that's why we posted this video. You never know if somebody watching this is your age, younger than you. Maybe they're older than me. It doesn't matter. The point is, you have to focus on what's building your shit up. If you try to compare yourself to other podcasters, like you said just now, you might end up finishing before you even start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So podcasting has been going good. You've been enjoying it. Do you think that you're going to continue talking about financial literacy, or do you think this podcast could go somewhere else, like 5 years, 10 years down the line? What do you see y'all talking about?
Honestly, I really don't. I feel like podcasting and media is something I will probably forever keep doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see myself not doing it. But as far as like the kind of conversations, it's all going to be conversations that I actually want to have. Whether
that's finances,
whether it's relationships.
Okay.
It's all going to be conversations that I actually want to have.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how things will look as far as the kind of conversations in the next 5 years, but I know for sure that media, content, podcasting is something I know that I'm going to be doing for a very long time.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm glad that you're committed to it. A lot of people get into it and they're still on the fence about if this is what they want to do, but yet they're 2 years, 3 years in. It's like, no, y'all haven't been taking it serious for 2 to 3 years. You've just been trying for 2 to 3 years. You're actually committed to doing it, so that's good. I just want to let you know.
Because I see all the upsides with it, bro. Podcasting is something that can open up a lot of doors for you.
Yeah.
That gives you the opportunity. I'm not as talented to be able to rap. I'm not as talented to be able to play basketball. I'm not as talented to be able to play football, things like that, bro. But what I do realize is that media, content, when you have a fan base, if you have a following, people take that as gold. You know what I mean? I could do that. I could, attract the kind of people that I want to attract because I have a podcast and I have a huge following. That's an asset. It can get me in rooms that I probably couldn't have gotten just by being a regular, dude that's just walking in the building.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any motivational movies or shows that you like to watch to keep you, on the same path? Because personally, I love movies, man. When I was growing up, I used to watch different movies just to put me in a certain mood before I would go to school or before I would play a football game or before something was happening. I would watch a movie and it would make me feel better knowing that even though this character might be fake, someone else went through what I'm going through. They got bullied and made it out, or they were weak once and then they got strong. You got any movies or shows that you're into right now?
That's kind of funny, bro. I really don't watch TV at all, bro. Like, I don't watch it at all. But
signs of success.
Not necessarily.
No, you don't think so?
No, bro.
Okay.
I mean, just don't get carried away with it,
Right.
Because if it takes, let's say you have to make 100 phone calls to be able to make 5 sales, and all right, cool, this is exactly what you got to do. If you go ahead and you knock that out every day, then boom, you'll be successful. You might have enough free time to enjoy watching the TVs and the movies that you want. So I feel like sometimes certain people, they just like, oh, yo, I don't do this, I don't do that. You're lying, You're not telling the truth. I know you got some other things.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Like, you're not working 24/7.
Right.
It sounds good that you're working 24/7. You're not. But I'm pretty sure you're working hard, but you can still have your free time to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah, okay. I got you. Ever since you really did start making money in this business, is there something that you discovered that you didn't even know you enjoyed? You know what I mean? That does cost a little bit. You might be, spending
I enjoy
some
traveling, bro.
Traveling, okay.
I enjoy traveling, and it allows me to be able to get into rooms that I want, go to places that I want. And the podcast, too, it's an asset. If I want to go to Miami for a weekend or a week or some shit like that, I'm like, all right, cool. Who can I hit up in Miami, to be able to pay me for a podcast while I'm out there? All right, cool. Let's shoot 2 podcasts at $3,500. Now we just made $7,000. We can have fun on a yacht. We can have fun at a party. Go to a strip club. You know,
Wow.
like,
See, that's a crazy mindset to have. A lot of people take the trip just to take the trip.
yeah,
You almost came up with the money for the trip on the way.
Yes.
Like you said, I'm not going unless I'm going to get paid.
Yes.
Right?
And it happened before, bro. Like, 2 months ago or so, we went out to Miami. I didn't really want to go, but, you know, it was a yacht party. I'm like, all right, cool, we'll pull up. But I'm only going if I'm be able to make some money.
Mm-hmm.
And we was able to make some money while we was out there and still had fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm able to use the podcast as some kind of leverage to get to the next level and to get to, you know, the places that I want and still have fun with it.
That's what's up, bro. Is it hard to say no? Or is it pretty to anybody or anything that you need to say no to? Because that's what I've noticed. A lot of people get caught up wasting time on something they should have declined.
You're right. Sometimes people point you in the directions that you don't even want to go into, bro. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, like, yo, why am I listening to this person, bro? Why am I a part of this opportunity? And you just got to withdraw yourself. But there is times where, you know, I just say yes. Like, somebody invited me to an event that's coming up soon, I really don't want to go to. So it's like, it is hard saying no sometimes.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me. There's people that have come up to me and simply asked for help, you know, moving out of their apartment, or, hey, can I get a ride 20 minutes in the opposite direction? Yeah. And it's an obvious no.
Yes.
But for some reason, my bones just won't say it. Yeah. And, you know, I can only imagine at your level of, you know, work and expertise, how many offers are thrown at you, you know, maybe collabs and people trying to do certain things, and saying no might be harder for you, you know, at the level you're at.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Honestly and truly, it does get difficult. People do ask for a lot of things, and then sometimes, you know, you got to tell them, like, yo, listen, here's the reality of it. I do charge for certain things, so it's really up to you, you know. Or you just charge it. Like, say, all right, cool, I want to get on your podcast. I might not be too excited for you to be wanting to get on our podcast.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you it's a price. Here's this. You know, you want to move forward.
Mm-hmm. So you basically found a way to work your nose into charging.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart.
Or sometimes here's the play. You can get somebody else to tell them no. Like, all right, cool. I have a manager you can talk to.
Delegate your nose.
I'll just tell a manager, we're not interested, bro.
Okay,
you know?
Okay.
Or I just plainly tell a person, I'm just not interested, bro. We're not on that right now.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice, because somebody watching this could have a hard time saying no and not even realize they got help right next to them. Yes. And you could just tell a friend to tell a friend, you know?
Yes.
That's smart. You know, I try to find lessons in every single story, right? And I just appreciate talking to you, because anybody watching right now can use everything you just said to gear their next step. Yes. You know what I mean? So until next time, this has been an episode of More Action Podcast. I'm going to let you go ahead and let them know where they can find you on Instagram.
Find me
your
on
podcast.
Motion and Success, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And stay tapped in with me. One thing I did tell one of my guys earlier today, like, I generally enjoy doing things like this, bro. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I'm like, yo, bro, I don't ever want to get too big for the little things. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like coming out here, you're gonna meet people. You're gonna have fun. Not everybody's gonna be like the person you really, really want to connect with. There's gonna be people you don't know, and they can really turn you up. So I said to myself, I'm like, I really don't want to ever get too big for the little things. So
yeah, you don't see yourself walking with security surrounding you one day,
Sometimes you might. You might have to do it. You might have to, bro. I mean, I'm not that kind of dude where, you know, I'm causing problems, but certain times, like, you might have to, bro, because not everybody has that kind of mindset, you know. But,
I feel you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. I appreciate you talking to me, man.
Absolutely, bro. You're starting out with something good. If you keep going, you'll definitely have a lot of success with it, bro.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Remember to follow him on Instagram. It's been another episode of More Action Podcast. We out.
More Action Podcast.